Hey guys, it's been a while since I've made content on this game specifically, and before we jump in, I just wanted to take a moment to be open with you all. The first time I made videos on this game was also the first time I really sat down and thought, I think I can actually do this YouTube thing. I can get an editing program, a screen capture software, and just dedicate my free time to making videos. At the time, I was in a place where I felt like everyone around me was starting to get progressively more busy with their lives, and I figured, why not make this my hobby and see where it takes me? Looking back, that decision was kind of wild, but honestly, seeing that 250 of you have stuck around and thought, yeah, this guy's fun to watch, even if he's not a pro at the games he plays. And that's just really, really cool to me. That's why I've been putting out so much content over the last 8 or 9 months, because I enjoy doing this. I know nobody asked me to get all sentimental, and this is basically the YouTube equivalent of poking at the glass you're watching this on. But hey, let's get right into it. Back into this challenge, trying to reach the end of Urge without dying. But this time, we've got a new goal, that goal being on taking on the boss that was recently added to the game. Along the way, I'll share some tips and some tricks for new players, and check out everything that's changed in the 5 months since I last played. So let's dive right in. Now, there's been like a whole graphic overhaul, so I don't know how different things look. Oh, wow. I feel like I'm looking through kind of like a fisheye lens. This is kind of weird. Hold on. Let's turn it down just a little bit. Like, yeah, FOV is going to help me see enemies out of, like, the peripherals a little bit better, but I don't think we need that. Let's... We gotta start out the classic way. Do we have the... Okay, we don't have the cassette, so we're gonna have to find the cassette real quick. That's a new thing. Okay, we have a non-input sound. That right there is also new. Is that a trail camera? What's with the trail camera? Is that what that is? That wasn't there before. We got the picture. It's right there. That's our RV guy. Are those light switches? Do they function? We got wall sockets now. I don't think those were there before. That's nice. Let's check this guy out, see what we got. We got prescriptions up there. The sink is still the same. Wall phone. I'm like more excited to see what's different as opposed to actually like just going through. Wasted 24/7. Yeah, the people in this house were wasted 24/7. You see all the party cups? I'm going with or without you. That's still the same. Alright, so that one's booby-trapped. We're definitely not opening that. That's going to increase fog levels. So, this is Urge for anybody that's never played it before. It is a survival crafting horror game. And I say horror in the way that it will make you feel uncomfortable, and it's got like the craziest premise I've ever had shown to me as a player from a development team, or even just in a story sense, where it's like an almost end of the world scenario, but it takes place exclusively in Florida, and there's like a science company. There's a whole mechanic that has to do with urination. And essentially... Alright, that's way easier to do than it used to be. That's nice. I see our inventory system's still the same. But yeah, anyways. Due to some sort of bug protein that people are eating, I believe that there is a infection that is... essentially infecting people's urinary tracts. That's what I'm gonna say. And it causes them to... Hey, look, there's our VHS tape. Oh, foreboding. It has an eyeball. I don't think I noticed that before. That's a camera. That's just straight up a camera, dude. Alright. But yeah, no, it affects the urinary tract infection. Every time you urinate without properly filtering the urine, you are putting yourself at risk. This is... I didn't have to pull out the flashlight this time. That's nice. And you can't save here. Okay. But yeah, urinate into any source. If you can't properly dispose of it, the toilets look nicer than they used to. I'm just gonna keep distracting myself with like the environment here, but it creates a fog, and that fog, when it hits that atmosphere, essentially spawns more enemies into the game, making the game a lot harder as you play it. So you have to actually figure out how to actively manage the urination, as well as hunger and thirst, like most survival-based games. But just the fact that you have like an entire mechanic that you have to manage just to avoid spawning more enemies really makes this game kind of stand out, because it's not just a cliche. We're gonna summon the RV. Yeah, there's nothing in this one this time. There he goes. He's gonna run away. That's the guy for the pictures. We're gonna ignore him though. I'm not too focused on that right now. I want to explore the property before I actually go into the world. This is one of the few times when you can kind of interact with the environment without enemies spawning. But there is a catch that I found back when I was playing it before. If you go into the main game world, then anything that could have spawned while you were here is going to spawn over there. So you still have to deal with them. You're safe here for now. So it's like one of those risk-reward things. So I'm not going to spend too much time here at the spawn location because of that. But I am going to explore the water tower just because usually there's some good gear spawns. If we do have a metal plate, but if we really wanted to, we could craft an axe and just get ourselves set up with wood. This is like a really easy way to just get a early game advantage and just give yourselves lots of material that you can use to essentially build a base later. We're going to explore this backwoods area. We might cut down a tree, but we don't need to cut down a lot of trees, just because like I want to get into the world and see what differences there are as soon as possible. Also, whenever I'm not talking, I'm probably going to fast forward the video footage a bit, just to keep things moving along. That way, it's not just a lot of screen time of me being silent while you watch character walk in direction or cut down tree. All right, let's oh, we can. All right, yeah. All right, we got an axe right off the bat. Let's cut this tree down. Yeah, and I found that right-clicking, it's the heavy attack. It does more damage while cutting down trees as well as hitting enemies. So I usually prefer to use this over just using the basic chop. Nice. All right. Let's check out over here. I don't know if he's added anything, but I'm going to say that the game developer, he has his own YouTube channel. I'm going to put that right here, so if you guys ever want to check that out. He's like, I don't know if he's a solo developer or not, but he does updates on this game every 2 weeks. He's very active on this game. This game is, ever since it's come out, he's just been putting in the work, and he literally has the, like, if anybody played The Forest when The Forest came out, or Sons of the Forest when it came out, you always saw that little timer on the bottom of your menu screen that tells you when the next patch is coming. This guy does something similar, and honestly, it's so cool. It's so cool to see it, like, especially with lots of early access games nowadays not really being transparent with the developer cycle. It's really hard as a gamer that sees like these grandiose projects that look really fun or really cool, and you buy into it and it's just abandoned. And I think that's kind of an issue. I think Steam's working on it now by letting people who are in the Steam shop know when the last time an update was, at least at the shop screen. But I know this game is not one of those games. This game has always got updates coming down the line, and they're not small updates. It's not like, oh, just some bug fixes and some patch notes. This guy's always adding stuff to the game and changing things around and adding new areas and locations to explore. So this definitely is like a passionate developer who's really just trying to flesh out this idea. And honestly, I can't wait for whatever game he comes out with after this, because if this guy sticks with it, there's going to be some pretty weird but pretty fun looking games coming out to Steam within like the next 5-10 years. Who knows if more devs were like this guy. But that's just my opinion on the matter. I'm gonna hop in the car. We're gonna get straight into town, and the car looks different. There's like, it's not like a piss color. Like everything had like a piss tint to it, but now it doesn't. We're no longer in the everything has to be urine tinted, even though we're like in a urine apocalypse. Yeah, I like this. I like that now you can actually look behind you. All right, we're gonna start a cutscene. There's a lot of fun little things in this cutscene that you'll see if you're paying attention. It's interactive, so like if I stop the car, I could fail the cutscene right away. Yeah, everything looks better. All right, we're gonna be in our first starting town. We're gonna check this place out. Depending on where we spawn, we're gonna get different items right off the bat. But it is like an open world. It is free roam. You can kind of go wherever you want. Here's like the first plot device Easter egg coming up here, where it's like there's a little bit of mystery. You see that little black figure up there, right on the water tower? That's like a huge plot device. Most people kind of miss it on their first go around, but I wanted to point it out here. And then we crashed the car. All right, so yeah, our last save was back in like September, and then that's where the last video I did ended. So I'm gonna click new save. We're gonna do this middle one right here, and it looks like we're starting out in a house. We got ourselves right off the bat. We got bugs. I usually kill them because keeping them around causes your character to get more sickness, and sickness makes you dehydrate way faster. Yeah, we also have our little stat graph, so we have different little trees of stats that we can level up to get better stuff. Like perception's one that I always try to max out as fast as I can, meaning I'm always doing loot runs, always trying to search containers and stuff, because every item that spawns in that you cause to spawn in will bring this up, which will give you better supplies more often. Vehicle handling is more or less you just drive, so the more you do it, but in order to do that, we're gonna have to do some crafting so that we can get clean gasoline, because vehicles in this game are powered by urine. If you've never played this game before, literal actual urine powers the vehicles. Strength determines how hard we hit things and our stamina and stuff. We got endurance, that's also our health and stamina. Fat's important because you slow down when you get it, but you get more energy to do things, so it's nice to have a nice healthy balance. Guns is self-explanatory. Addiction, I don't remember addiction, but I mean it's right there, so that's like a whole stat I don't have to worry about. Contamination's really interesting. If we can get contamination down to 0, that means essentially we're gonna be pissing fuel for cars that don't contaminate the vehicle that we're driving or the air around us. And we got our build menu. That's going to give us all of our crafting stuff that we could use to build essentially the base that we're going to be living in and storing all of our supplies. I usually would recommend for first-time players trying to build a base on top of a house, which sounds a little wacky because you have to build some sort of ladder to get on top of there, and fall damage can kill you. But if you're looking for like a good starting location, it's going to be on top of a building because they can't get you while you're up there. And we are going to just search this house real quick. I'm going to be as fast as possible with this, grabbing everything that I can possibly see. I don't even know if there's like new items. This is Yuroff. That's essentially the thing that we'll be taking to completely eliminate the, I'm going to call it the P bar. It's down here in the right corner. and it lowers our contamination over time, so collecting those and using those whenever possible is just going to give us a better chance at survival out here. And I don't know if we're going to be seeing a lot of lore notes or anything in the area that we start in. I might check some of the areas that I think I already know where notes are, but I recently have seen some development notes that would suggest that they have moved all of the locations. That was not something I expected. Oh, that's weird. That's interacting way weird. It's like slowly disappearing too. It's not just like staying... Ew. Ew. Before those things were static. What is this? Alright, well, I'll explain one thing real quick. See these boxes? We could break the boxes, like the suitcases I just broke over there. The difference is they're encrusted in this thing called urid, which is a solidified piss crystal. But by breaking them, they have like chances of better loot spawns, so we're gonna do it even though they literally spawn in fog just by breaking them. There's a way to prevent it, but I don't have acid bottles with me. This is the fog, and as it goes up, it literally will cause fog readers, which we'll see later. They'll start to fill up with a yellow substance, and it will show you how dangerous the world is becoming. So we need a plastic bag, and we spawn. That's like clean gunpowder, which is fantastic. We could eat this bone marrow right now. Probably could have like used it for something else, but I wanted to clear up the inventory space. Let's break this one real quick too. Yeah, 2 gunpowder, that's perfect. We don't have any guns right now, so technically it's useless, but stocking up on ammunition now rather than later is going to give us a big advantage when we actually find ourselves a functioning firearm. There are different types of firearms in this game, and I would like to find something that hopefully provides more damage over, well... Oh, that's new. They got new signs. The world looks different. Like, it looks the same. There's like a familiarity to it, but I can tell it's like more colorful than it was. Alright, but yeah, no. Different firearms have different stats, so I would rather find the ones that hit harder rather than shoot faster, if that makes sense. Because fire rate in this game is more detrimental than it is helpful, because ammo is not something that's super easy to craft until you get to the later game. Also, this location's kind of fun because the map itself, I believe, is stuck in the 90s. Like, we got ourselves a LAN party, like LAN cafe type deal, computers and stuff. And yeah, no, this is the classic spawn. We're gonna go into one of these houses and probably pull out a map. I feel safe. Like, I'm not seeing enemies. I haven't heard an enemy spawn. Usually they have like a unique spawn trigger sound to kind of give you at least a little bit of a head warning. But that's also, it's hard to say whether or not that's still in the game or has been changed at all. So let's see, what can I do with this? Shotgun shells. I can make pipe bombs now? Alright, hold on. That's... We're gonna make a Molotov because we can do that. Crossbow, we can make a bat. We can make boards. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, no, I forgot half the crafting recipes. It's been so long since I've touched this game, so... I'm gonna make some risky play decisions. We're gonna try to... I think it's actually better we try to find a place to hunker down in now rather than later. Plastic bottle, that's kind of a big deal. We're gonna want that. I'm gonna eat this mushroom. And I think what we'll do is we will... Yeah, we're gonna find a place to base up. Nice glue bar. What do we got here? We got alcohol. Alcohol's good. We definitely want to pick those up when we find them. I remember tarp was important for something. I can't remember what right now. Okay. I think we're going to use the year off now. Completely clear that out, free up an inventory space, take the alcohol, and then what we could do is we can use this alcohol to make another Molotov. Molotovs are kind of like they're a good weapon. They're kind of get out of jail free. They're not really the best for killing off enemies, but lighting them on fire, especially if they emit fog from them, because there are infected enemies that will have literal fog coming off of their bodies when we kill them. Having them on fire first is going to help prevent that, because fire burns fog, but the drawback is that the fog also catches on fire, creating a bigger area of effect, which I will say has killed me in the past in this game. Okay, what do we do? What do we do? So I'm gonna check the build menu real quick. I want to see if they've added anything. A rug. I already knew that existed. What's this? Sliding door. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that they had that, but now we have sliding doors. Let's see, fog meter. We're definitely gonna want that. We're gonna need plywood and duct tape for that one. I don't remember if I ever used the crusher trap, but it's cool to know that that's like an option. And then we got the chest. We're gonna need metal sheets for that. And we got ourselves our basic bases and stuff. Cage trap, that might be helpful. Okay, okay. Yeah, no, they removed every sink is its own safe spot, so that's why houses are important, but you can also build your own safe. I think it's, if they still have it, I gotta know. Yeah, it's right here. It's this little save basin. Oh, I accidentally did it. Yeah, if you push, there's an actual button to pee. I haven't used it yet, but I accidentally just clicked it. It's one of those things where you don't want to just be peeing nonstop, because it does make the world more dangerous. We're gonna risk opening this. And yeah, it's got boards. All right, so I'm gonna drop the wire. I don't think I need it right now. I'm stuttering on my words because I'm sleepy. But we are going to go find ourselves more things that we can use to craft. I'm going to drop the boards real quick, pick up the alcohol, make another Molotov. I think what we should do... Bug meat. I don't want that. Duct tape. We do need duct tape. That is important. So we need to be able to build a chest. That is going to be our first thing that we build at all. We just need one more metal sheet for that. So I'm going to go on the hunt for metal sheets. And I think they spawn random everywhere. They're more likely to spawn in garages, because garages are going to have metal sheet piles we can break. But I'm also just kind of searching every house as I see it, because scavenging in this game is just one of the big mechanics that we're going to be doing the most. Yeah, every house has like hidden details. As you can see, it kind of looks like everybody was kind of hiding upstairs. You got the boarded up windows. I bet someone had like a gun and was sniping out of here. We got ourselves like the beds. We got the how to make an axe, some survival how-to stuff. The tables placed in a barricade shape. Like, people were trying to hold out here, but as you can tell from the lack of people, I don't think it really worked out for them. Alright, I didn't find any metal sheets here, but we did find more alcohol to make more Molotovs. So we're just gonna hop out this window. And I think we will go inside the warehouse real quick, see if we can find ourselves some metal sheets in here, and instantaneously, that's what I'm talking about. We got ourselves a plastic bottle with liquid in it. Sometimes plastic bottle, well, when you get to higher scavenging levels, plastic bottles will just have stuff in them all the time, and sometimes if you're lucky, you'll already find fuel. But I think what I want to do is I want to pull a classic strategy just for people who are starting the game out and aren't ready for the difficulty curve that comes later, is we're going to base up on the water tower, because as far as I know right now, because I haven't checked the patch notes and read really deep on them, is that enemies can't climb ladders. It's kind of one of the few places that's actually a safe haven for anybody trying to start out. It's nice up here too. There's also item spawns, so we can actually search the rim of the tower. Though there are enemies that can lunge their way up here, so it's not ideally safe. It's still dangerous to be up here, but I can build a chest, and that's really helpful. So at the top of this tower, we're not even going to build a house yet or a platform. We're just going to build the chest itself and dump some supplies. I'm also going to put this liquid, yeah, it's tea. Yeah. Oh, I could just hover over to it. Tells me in the little thing right there. We're going to keep this bottle in hand. We got 4 Molotovs. We're going to drop off any supplies that we're not using. As you can see, that's our hunger bar. It's still pretty much 90% full, so I don't necessarily need to eat right now. Eating protein bars are going to fill up our hunger, but there's better food substitutes out there, so we're going to want to collect these tarps, because I'll show you what we're going to do with them later. Pipes have their own use. You could use them for essentially a whole entire purification system that you can build later, since you're going to be managing your own fuel source. Alright, we found some fog spreading ammo. What I think we're going to do is I'm going to check the map. That's right, I just remembered there is no just dedicated map button yet. Unless there is, let me check. We only have one note. We don't have the map yet. Alright, so I'm going to actually show you guys where the map is. So if any of you ever do pick up this game, you know where to find it. Makes it a little bit easier on you guys. So the important thing to note when you are starting the game and you don't know where you are is landmarks. Landmarks are super important. Like, this crashed car is always at this tree. This is always going to be at the start area. There's not always going to be a deer over there. We're going to ignore it. But you know that car from the tutorial that we crashed? It's going to be at this house here with the bug fog tent, the fumigation tent, and poor guy didn't make it through, all dented up and stuff. We're actually going to search this house because there might be some sort of note or lore here that we could use later. There's a TV. TVs are cool. Alright, we got ourselves a note. They all want the yellow stuff. Don't let the fog rise. So that is your literal only warning as to the fog mechanic. But as you play the game and experience the fog and see how many enemies will come at you, because fog dictates how often the enemies spawn. And they will spawn a lot of them. And if the enemies aren't getting to you to kill you, they'll just start killing each other to spawn more enemies. I've watched that happen too. That's crazy. Alright, we got a boarded up bathroom over here. We're on the hunt for... I gotta kill these bugs. I can't let them just hang out. There we go. I feel like there's less bugs than there used to be, which is kind of a nice detail, because killing bugs in every house that I went to was so tedious before. Alright, we got ourselves a mannequin here. Just gonna knock him over, show him that we are the dominant species of this house, not him. We got metal. Tape's always good. We got a cloth. I feel like before I couldn't move this table. Alright, I didn't see any significant notes that are going to help us out here. I also haven't encountered an enemy yet, but I have heard an enemy scream in the distance, which means one might have spawned. So we're going to go check that out. Yeah, we can search every trash can. Anyways, there's the crash car. That's a landmark. We're going to go up ahead here. Up there's the chapel. As you can see, the chapel's actually an important location. We're going to go check that out because it has your first fog reader that you're going to see. Every single new town you go to has its own major fog lead. Every major town has its own like significant fog reader placed in it, and each of those fog readers are specific to the towns themselves. Is that a carcass? We got some mealworms. And by noting those locations, you can see how bad it is. Some towns actually have their own dedicated start fog. Okay, he didn't drop feathers. You're gonna want to kill birds when you see them, by the way, because they drop feathers. As I don't have a log on me, but you can make a crossbow, which you can make different types of ammo for. It's kind of like the easiest starting projectile to get. Anyways, we got this church, and here's our first fog meter. And as you can see right here, it's very low, so there's not really going to be any enemies spawn. So we're going to be in the safest position now in this town. It really allows you to just kind of roam around and explore without any enemies really coming to mess you up. And, well, it also allows you to make lots of mistakes really early. Mistakes that at first don't seem like they're going to punish you. Like, you kind of get used to just making mistakes in the early game and just not really thinking about it. But then, like, as they stack up later, it really does. You start to feel that maybe you've goofed. Maybe you've messed up. I don't remember spray cans being in this game. Used to paint a vehicle. Okay, interesting. Also, I'm going to show you how another item works real quick. So this is the extractor. If we go here, you can right-click if you're playing on PC. I don't think there's controller support, but you've got your little craft button, you've got your plus craft button, and your X craft button. We're going to demonstrate the X on the soap. It just gets rid of it. It makes you drop it. You pick it right back up. And that wasn't soap. Even though it looks like a bar of soap, it's glue. But you can click this right here. I can combine the glue with the mealworm that we picked up with the carcass to create a protein bar. You can also use this. There's an error in the action. I don't think I... Hold on. Is it this one? Is it this one? Anyways, you click the plus screwdriver and you can combine it with any of these items, and it essentially turns those items into something else. We're going to use it with this. My pistol bullets are now a fog-spreading gunpowder. If we were to find a cooking pot and a fireplace, we could boil it to create clean gunpowder, which we can use to make ammo later. Because there is a difference between using clean ammo and the dirty fog-spreading ammo. It's like, if you're in an emergency, there's like a group of enemies around you, you need to spray and pray, then yeah, go for using the fog-spreading ammo. But for the most part, you're better off just not even looking at it and then saving it for later when you can actually deconstruct it and turn it into clean ammo that won't get you killed. Anyways, the real reason why we came to this house isn't because we wanted to loot. It's just a habit. It's because somewhere around here... It's right there. There's the RV from the tutorial that we were following. We're going to go check that out. Maybe you can't really see it in the distance, so we'll just get closer. As you can see, we got ourselves the advertisement for the mealworms, the bug rush, which is I think the brand that produces the protein bars that we pick up throughout the game world. And there's lore on all of this stuff. We'll go through it as we see it. I'll try not to spoil too much as I go through the series in case you want to actually play the game yourselves. But if you are interested in actually just following along with me, then that's fine too. So we got ourselves 3 things that we can pick up here. This is the most important thing. As you can see, our guy that stole the bus, the RV, drove off. He said, "I'm leaving without you." He's not here. He's gone. But he's left us a nice little note. It's got a nice little crude map, and we're in the RV now, and, you know, we went the wrong way if we were trying to find him. He actually went to High Springs, which is all the way back where we came from. And as we play the game, you'll start to realize that the guy that we are chasing is just a massive troll, because he's going to make us walk in like 80 different directions that don't make any sense, and there's going to be a lot of backtracking. Why? Because he's drinking the pee, that's what I'm assuming. But he's also got the hunting rifle, which I want to find. It's one of the better weapons in the game as far as projectile weapons go. But right now we're not too worried. We're just in the beginning, so we're not going to find any projectiles right off the bat. I bet there's one nearby I could probably make just a dash towards. But this game also has some triggered enemy spawns, so it's not just like completely safe the entire time if you're doing everything correctly. And this is Urid. We're going to be picking up some of these as we find them, because there's a chance we can befriend enemies. But I've also heard that we can get pets, and, you know, before we couldn't do that. But now, things are different. We can make all sorts of friends. Bone shiv, we can make cloth armor. I want that extractor, but I also have this little thing here. This is it's a GPS coordinates tracker. It's not gonna, like, we can't like plug in a location and it takes us there, but there's gonna be some lore things later that's gonna make us use that in order to find our next go-to location. But if we follow the lore, it's going to take us to the hunting rifle, which we're going to need. Alright, we're going to check this room real quick, and I got a yellow plastic bottle. I think that's either going to end up being fuel, or it's going to be something else. Let's pick it up and see. Also, we're going to equip this. Alright, we've got a bottle of pee, and we're going to drop it. And we picked up a more purified version of pee. This is definitely a cleaner one. Check the attic real quick, and oh, this is a nice... It looks really clean up here. But now that we got the map, you can actually look at it. As you can see, I'll zoom in on it real quick just so you can get a better sight. There is a little red dot. That's going to be us and our location relative to the map. And I will tell you that this map is actually a lot cleaner looking and more put together than the old map that I had. I remember Milford didn't exist. Milford's a new location that wasn't there before. The last location I explored was Orlando, and Orlando had essentially the horrific piss survival craft version of Disney World, and we're going to go there in this series again if we can. Right now we're in Golrude. There's Hazardville. There's Perry Cove. Then I used to just call it the coastline area. There's some other smaller towns hidden in between and some other really interesting locations. So we'll explore those all as it comes up. But right now it's dark outside and we need to seek shelter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our little water tower because we still have time. And our flashlight is the X key for anybody that is starting out and playing for the first time. And once we get back to the water tower, I will show you essentially the sleep mechanic. It's just plop a bed down and fall asleep on it as if it was like something like Minecraft or any other survival game that you've played in the past. But there is a catch. I do think enemies spawn at night as well. I think as the days go on, regardless of whether or not the fog reader has gone up, They do try to give you some sort of challenge by making it so that some enemies spawn, so you're never truly safe. It's just this first day, it feels like there's no enemies at all, because you can just kind of run around and do whatever you want. We're also going to be focusing on building our first base. That way you guys can kind of see what the construction mechanics of this game looks like if you have never seen it before. Anybody that's like seen my first series or seen other people play this game, they've probably got a basic idea of how crafting and building in this game works. I just want to make sure that like people who've never heard of this game get some semblance of like, oh, this is how you do this, so that way it's more approachable to new players. But I think after like 2 or 3 videos into the series, we're gonna go in, and we're just gonna focus on getting ready for what the challenge is, because they added something to this game I'm really excited about, and that is the addition of boss. Just an entire boss enemy. I really want to know what that looks like in this really weird game. I want to know how to fight that. I remember before, when researching lore, just seeing the gigantic bug monster just in pictures was terrifying. So to know that that might be in the game right now and I might be able to experience it, that is crazy. All right, it is a new day, and we are there. The way that time works in this game, you can obviously look up and see the sun, and it moves, so you can tell by doing that, or you can find yourself a clock. When we actually start building our... Oh, we're making urine. We're making urine. Red alert. Yeah, so you just kind of emit fog if you don't take care of that little P meter bar. And every single morning when you wake up, if you're not paying attention, you're just going to be emitting that. And as you can see, it goes straight up into the atmosphere, which is only going to cause enemies to spawn more often. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut down some trees. I kind of want to see if I could get over to that electrical post. It's like a nice square base on top of it. So I have to know. I have to know if I could build a base over there. Because I built a base on top of this water tower before. I built a base on top of houses. But I've never done it to the electrical, like, these lines, these power lines, and I think it'd be kind of funny. So let's just see what it's going to take to get to that. So I'm going to start chopping down every tree that I see, and I'll probably fast forward it so that way it just takes less time for you guys watching, and I'll cut back in if anything interesting happens or if I find any unique items that might help us in our journey. Also, you can see the flashlight flicker. That is because batteries actually have a use with the flashlights. Oh, resin. You can get resin from trees, by the way. If you don't cut them down, it will spawn resin. Here's our first enemy. Bugs will attack you. They do come... They'll fly at you. They're another one of those aerial enemies that are going to distract us while we're up there, but they're pretty harmless. As you could tell, you could really just kind of kill them in 2 hits with the axe. And once we upgrade the axe from finding a bottle of acid, which I'll show you that when I find one, we'll be able to do a little bit more damage, which will help us later. Alright, so this is one of the basements. There are basements to a lot of these houses. You just have to know where to find them. It's always good to search everywhere. We got ourselves the Hanged Man. Yeah, some people didn't want to deal with the P-demons. And he had a nice little distillery thing. We're just going to check and see if he had anything good down here. He just has some protein bars. I'm not really seeing anything that we could really use right now. Actually, I should probably empty my inventory. Hold on. Alright, real side note real quick, just so you guys can see. Dude, ever since... I don't know what he did, but the draw distance and just the amount of scenery and stuff, it looks so much better than it did before. Like, I could see so much further away. You can kind of see those low renders off in the distance for Hazardville, but and the big whatever that is, the big black building. But geez, I can't believe I gotta drink this tea and then fill this bottle because we're starting to get full of urine again. I'm over here nerding out about the game, but like mechanics are happening actively. Anyways, so the whole chest thing, like your inventory system, it's small. There's no way to upgrade your inventory as far as I remember. It's not like there's backpacks or anything to increase your inventory size. The best thing to do would be to, once you find a vehicle, is to upgrade that vehicle to have inventory in it so that you can actually carry your stuff around and loot. We'll get into it when we find a vehicle, but first we're going to take care of this bug. Alright, so remember how I was like, yeah, we should focus on building a base and chopping down trees? I feel like it's more important right now that we find a way to deal with the urine, since we don't really have a lot of ways to do that. So there's going to be two things we want to build. We're going to want to build this. So I need a plastic bag and 5 duct tape, so we're probably going to do some loot runs. And then we're going to need 5 wire, 5 wood, 1 metal sheep, and a pipe so we can make a defogger, because that's going to save our lives. Like, honestly, this thing is these are some of the most important things you could build with or without a base. And that background noise you're hearing right now, I believe that is the sound of a train, because there is an active train that is constantly moving on the map. I've never actually gotten to ride the train yet, so maybe in this series, maybe this time around, we could try to hop on the train, ride the train, see where it takes us, because there's some things in this game that, even though I did an Iron Man series in the past, trying to see how long I could go for without dying and how much I could actually explore and find, I never actually really experienced the train. So I think that could be a fun little thing that we can try out. But yeah, let's go hunting for some plastic bags, which I think the best place that's going to have those spawn in is going to be the trailer park, which is this way. So there is some like common locations that are going to give us some really good loot spawns right off the bat, so that you can figure out how to deal with your survival. This is a manhole, by the way. If you break this, we can go into the pipes. The pipes will take us to different areas, but honestly, where we're at right now with supplies, it's a death sentence because lots of enemies spawn down underground. We got a vulture. Let's see if we can get some feathers real quick. We got meat. I don't want it. I hear bugs. And that's because there's a bug hive right over here. So this is a bug hive. It spawns literally an infinite number of bugs. It's just best we take care of it now. That one's running away right now. Right, we asserted our dominance by peeing directly into the hive. Bug hives are good for 2 reasons. Like, they're bad, but they're good. Like, destroying them is going to make it so bugs spawn less often, just naturally, which is going to be nice because bugs are kind of annoying. They have 2 different types of attacks. They've got a sting attack that they'll usually have when they fly at you, but they have a secret second attack not a lot of people talk about, and that is they will fly underneath you, pick you up off the ground, and have fall damage, murder you. And I only say that because I've experienced it. But killing them and destroying these, you get a place to urinate, so you can clear that urine bar that you have, and then they'll drop spoiled flesh and bug meat. Now, those items I don't need to pick up right now, but they are very useful later when you get a composter, which you're going to want. Composting is, funny enough, something you're going to need in order to spawn in ammo. And just knowing where hives are whenever you see them, destroying them is just going to give you so much resources in order to build up your ammunition stock. So I'll probably show that off later when I get to that point. But right now our goal is to search this trailer park, and it is located here on your map if you were to go find it. So let's check out and see if we got a lucky spawn. Since spawns are all randomized, you never know what you're going to find or get. But we're going to be hoping for a plastic bag or a bottle of acid. Alright, we got ourselves more food, and you know what? We could eat some food. And food's good because it also fills up your health bar a little bit. As you could have seen right there, we did take a little bit of damage from fighting the bugs, but we're like A-okay right now. So if you're like stuck in a pinch and you don't have any healing items, then eating food's good. But eating a lot of food like I just did is going to increase the fat stat, which for me right now I don't mind having. It's not really that bad. We're gonna craft ourselves more Molotovs. Actually, the next cloth I'll find, I'll show you what you can do to get yourself some healing items. A glue bar, you can sleep. You could just sleep on any bed if you find it. Just note that not everywhere is safe, so it's not really, it's a gamble if you just wake up and then there's just a bunch of enemies ready to just straight beat your cheeks. Drop that here, and then what we'll do is we'll combine this guy with this, and look at that, we got ourselves some bandages. So if you ever need to craft bandages, it is just resin and cloth, but I usually don't craft them a lot. I think you can find better healing items. And if you're good at combat, you get better at kiting the enemy and just kind of, you know, going absolute beast mode every time you see them. You probably won't need to have a lot of healing items on you, just enough for an emergency, you know what I mean? And I hear an enemy as we speak. It is a bug. They can fly through windows. Got him. Check our inventory real quick. I think we have a bottle of urine. That's the clean one. That's the dirty one. I think what we'll do is we're just going to drop that. I was going to hold on to it for safekeeping. Now, that sounds weird for anybody that's never played before, but we could put them into a purifier to make fuel, so it's good to have a bottle. Every bottle has 5 uses, so you have to use them wisely. And when I say 5 uses, I mean like you could fill it and empty it 5 times before your character just for some reason decides this bottle is no longer good. I'm just going to throw it. I don't need it anymore. Now I am doing a lot of info dumping and not finding a lot of plastic bags. So what we're gonna do is... That's coffee. Okay. I can make armor, but I need the wire actually. I need like 5 of them. Well, remember there's a bottle here. Okay, we've got a lore note. I'll read it real quick. Town of Garud closed to the public. This is back in 2007. On the advice of Director of Emergency Management, and in the consultation with Emergency Advisory Committee, the whole town and facilities will be closing down for the time unknown. This action is being taken to reduce the risk of further reproducing, and then it's a little blurred out here, but you know, there's some unknown side effects. They're getting a little worried. They're like, uh-oh, our little science experiment's going wrong. I don't think we got lucky with our spawn here. It's fine. I know where there usually is better spawns for some of these items. We do have a full inventory, which is unfortunate. But we will keep the necessities and not really think about, like, if there's an item that we find, most of these items just spawned often, so we don't have to worry about just tossing a bunch of them on the floor if we don't need them. But I am a loot goblin. Oh wow, these are no longer boarded up. this is actually a lot nicer. It's a lot nicer that these aren't boarded up and I can actually see out the windows. That almost makes this like a somewhat valuable place to camp up if you wanted to build a camp inside these boats. But we're not going to do that. We don't need to do that. We're actually going to go over here and check out this basement, because this house has a basement spawn. And it's got the chainsaw advertisement, which we can find. You can actually find the chainsaw. It is somewhat useful. Wire. Check this wardrobe, and it's got alcohol. That one's booby trapped. And it had nothing in it. I just needed to know. I needed to know. But we need to find a plastic bag. So we're actually going to go to a junkyard real quick. And I'll show you where that is. We'll fast forward to get there. And then what we'll do is we'll head back to our base. Hopefully we would have found a plastic bag or a bottle of acid that we can actually use for crafting, because I really want to get some sort of way to deal with fog, and I really want to get a way to deal with urine. Alright, we're coming up on the mechanic shop, and this is the railroad. I don't see the train, but wow. You could see so much further. Before, that would just be blacked out. You wouldn't be able to see down inside that tunnel, but right now you can see inside that tunnel. That is super cool. Now, I know everything's kind of a yellow tint because PE, but it does kind of have like an autumn feel to it. Free plywood. We're never gonna say no to free plywood. Please bless us with a plastic bag. We're not getting lucky with plastic bags here. Now we're going to go over here, and I will say that there is a secret cave that you can explore in this area. But we're not going to go through it right now because we are super ill-prepared. And I don't feel like fighting a bunch of monsters with this axe. This axe is actually not fantastic at fighting. There's a lot of different melee weapons, and I can actually show you some of them, but they're not all melee weapons are reliable, is all I can say. We could easily craft ourselves a baseball bat and upgrade that right off the bat, but I don't feel like that. I feel like we should just go for the upgraded axe for now, and then hold out until we can find a better weapon. No feather spawn again. Alright, we are not lucky. We're going to explore this gas station real quick. The gas station, I think, also has its own dedicated fog reader. I'm not sure. We'll double check. This is nice. See this little tent here? This is nice. If I were to pee in here and cause fog, so fog will go up here and turn into urine at the top of this tent. I don't know if this tent specifically would give us that, because it's a random spawn tent, but we could just destroy it and take the tarp from it. That is a randomly generated, like, item spawn. Yeah, we got ourselves another fog meter. This is connected to the other one over there. Both of these fog readers read for the same town. Mushrooms for food. We're not going to take those. But let's hope to find ourselves a plastic bag. Oh, that's super big. We're going to take those for sure. All right. I really made these bandages for demonstration reasons, so we're just going to consume them right now. I'm not seeing a plastic bag, but here's another note. And yeah, it's essentially a note that talks about how urine is used for biofuel. It's like the starting area doesn't necessarily hold your hand through the process of figuring out how the game works and its mechanics, but it gives you just enough information for you to figure stuff out on your own. I will say that that is a big thing about this game for players that like a somewhat challenge where they're trying to figure things out on their own. They don't want to have like a 45-minute tutorial that just explains the basic mechanics. They want something that just throws them in and they explore and figure it out. This is exactly the game for you. I would definitely pick this game up if you want some sort of game where it is just I have to experience it to know what's going on. Now, we're really, really close to our next story location, so I think I'll check that out because hopefully a plastic bag spawns nearby that. We are not getting lucky with the plastic bag spawn as far as like all the other locations are, but once it turns nighttime and we go to sleep, which... There's another hive. We're going to ignore that hive for now, even though it's right there. But anyways, as I was saying, if you look up, as I said before, if you don't have a clock, the sun is the best way to tell the time, and if you don't have really high fog levels, you can always see the sun where it's at. When the fog levels get really, really high, that's when things get a little difficult as far as... They're mad at me. As I was saying, fog levels, when they get higher, it's going to make it harder for you to tell what time it is. That's why clocks are in the game. You unfortunately can't get like a watch. And this thing right here is a geyser. At a certain time, every so often, every few days, this thing's going to shoot a plume of fog up into the sky. So what I'm going to do right now is, because I think I can afford to do it, we got a custom wall. Alright, we can make housing tenting, which is with the tarp and duct tape. We can actually build some tarp stuff. That's what I wanted to know. And we got ourselves some metal pillars. So we're going to construct real quick. Here's a quick glimpse of kind of what the crafting system's like. It's very freeform. It's very unique. And what we're going to do is this guy right here. And we could do one more. I worked really hard to get all this wiring and metal, but this is kind of super important to do, so I don't mind wasting some resources in order to block this thing off. Alright, so yeah, no, anytime this thing shoots anything out, it's going straight up into that, which is going to cause Urid to spawn, but it's going to make it so the fog readers don't actually go up passively, because that's like the big thing. The game dev knows. He knows that there's going to be people that are going to be purposely hoarding bottles of pee and making fog catchers and stuff like that, and the difficulty's not going to get harder for veteran players. So you put these geysers in at random towns to just spawn in fog at random, just so the game can get progressively harder, but you completely negate that if you know what you're doing. Alright, so this is the next location. And like I said earlier, the RV guy, he's definitely a troll, because guess where he wants us to go next? Right next to the RV. And that was all the way... If we check our map, that's all the way back in the corner where we got the map, and I'll even put a little dot on the screen to represent where that is. So that's how far he wants us to walk. He's going to make us walk even further. And here's a backpack. And no, you can't pick it up. This is a trapdoor. So if you want to go in the basement in this house, that is there. If you didn't know that that was there at all, I just wanted to show you that. We got some fog spreading pistol rounds. The box for the fog spreading rounds looks different now. That's nice. That's good to see. I think what we're going to do is we're going to... What am I going to do? I hear combat. Yeah, there we go. He's dealt with. I really, really, really just wanted to find a plastic bag. I don't think we're gonna find it in this episode, sadly, so I think what we'll do is we will consume some food, we'll take the ear off, we're gonna take these pistol rounds, we'll go downstairs real quick, check out that basement. Maybe we got lucky down here. We got ourselves some possums. There's lots of possums in this game. Got a corpse, he's got some mealworms, some beds we're gonna ignore. I just want to see if maybe this guy had a plastic bag lying around, and it is not looking like he did. Yeah, everything looks so much cleaner than it did before with the graphics overhaul. It actually makes this world look really nice. This is definitely a feature that I'm going to be fanboying about for a while. But I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to call it for this episode. If you guys liked this game, if you enjoyed it, I'm going to link a Steam shop link in the description, and I'm also going to say thanks to the Urge Discord community for definitely calling me out and being like, hey, we need some more content on this game. And I'm like, you know what? I agree. I love this game. This game needs some love. I've seen some of the bigger YouTubers making videos about this game, and honestly, it was in updates that were so long ago. Like even when I did my first series on this game, it was 20 patches ago. Like, the amount of effort we're going into this game, I feel like within the next year, this game's going to be in 1.0 and full release. Because the developer of this game, he's really putting in the work. He's put his dedication into this, and the story's so outlandish and weird, but compelling enough that I want to see it through to the end. So seeing that like there's a community that really wants to see this game flourish, and seeing that the developer himself is putting in all this extra work, I'm gonna make another series on this game just because I want to see what's been added since. It's definitely been a bit of a long wait for me too, because I've been waiting. I'll check the patches occasionally and be like, oh, you can color cars now, that's cool. Or, oh, they added some interiors to some buildings I've never explored, that's super neat. But just hearing the phrase, there's now a boss fight, that got me so hyped up. I had to come back, I had to start a new series. I wanted to just, that's what this series is mostly going to be primarily goaled towards, is getting to that boss, and I want to see what it's like. I want to see if I can beat it, especially with like the experience that I've had in this game so far. So I'm gonna hit the save. You guys, if you like this video, you guys know what to do. I don't feel like I have to say it. I've been saying it less in the videos, but if you like this content, hit the subscribe, hit the like, come check out the channel. I try to do like uploads every other day if I can, but you know, sometimes life and passion, they get mixed up. So I'll see you guys on the next one.